Hey guys, welcome to my legal classes. This is Ganesh Pujari and we were discussing chapter 5 of Indian Penal Code, which is all about abetment, and in this series this is my third video where I am going to discuss four more sections starting from section 113 to 116, which are all punishment provisions, and from my next session I am going to finish abetment and then we can get into a new chapter. With that, I am taking you to the first slide with section 113. Section 113 is very easy as well as very interesting. It discusses about liability of abettor for an effect caused by the act abetted different from that intended by the abettor. Now, while abetting, the abettor has certain intention. Now, he is abetting and the person who got abetted, who is going to commence that offense, while he is commencing that offense, as a consequence of that particular act, the act causes a certain different effect. In this case, whether the abettor is liable or not, that is what exactly discussed under section 113. Let's make it simpler with the help of an illustration. There is one Mr. A and one Mr. B and one Mr. Z. Now, what does A do? He instigates Mr. B to cause grievous hurt to Z. Actually, A doesn't like Z, and what he does, he instigates Mr. B that go and cause grievous hurt to Z. Now, B goes to hurt Z, but in the process, the consequence of the act of Mr. B, the person, that is Z, dies. Now, what was the purpose of A? To cause grievous hurt to Mr. Z. What was the purpose of B? To cause grievous hurt to Mr. Z. But as a consequence of the act that B has done, the grievous hurt caused the death. Now, whether A is responsible for this act or not is the question. The answer is, under section 113, A is liable for the punishment of murder because grievous hurt can cause murder also. It is a consequence, it is the continuation of the act, that is grievous hurt. So A is liable for murder here. That is what exactly section 113 discusses, where an act which becomes another effect or which gives another effect as a consequence of that particular act, and if someone is abetting for such act, the person who has abetted is liable for punishment for the ultimate offense which has happened. And in the illustration here, the murder has happened, so A is punishable for murder also. The only exception is here the person who is abetting should knew that the act abetted was likely to cause that particular effect. That is the only exception. If he is not aware, then he can ask for exception. If he is aware that it is going to happen, in that case he cannot escape from this particular section. I hope that is very clear. And under CRPC, the offense conducted under section 113, here the offense will be treated as same as the offense has conducted. It is not abetment. Whatever offense is there, if that offense is cognizable, in that case under section 113, the abetment is also cognizable. If not, it is not cognizable. Likewise, the bail and punishment also remains same. Whatever punishment is there for the offense, for such abetment under section 113 also the punishment remains same, and the offenses conducted here are non-compoundable offenses. I hope section 113 is very clear. Then comes section 114, which is again a very interesting section which discusses about abettor present when offense is committed. Now the question is there any difference if the abettor is present in the crime scene or not? Now that's the question. What happens here? Let's discuss with the help of an illustration. Imagine A instigate Mr. B to kill Mr. Z. Now scenario 1, B is killing Mr. Z and A is present. Scenario 2, B is killing Mr. Z and A is not present. And there is a clear difference about being present and not being present. In the case when A is not present in the scenario, the punishment will be for the abetment of that particular offense, whereas if Mr. A who has abetted if he is there in the scene, in that case, it is considered as he has committed that particular offense. Like the punishment will be same as the offense itself. I hope that's very clear. Here what happens if A is present when B is killing Mr. Z, it is like A and B together murdered Mr. Z, and if A is not there in the scene, in that case for A the punishment will be for the abatement of murder, whereas for B it will be for murder. That is the difference. That way the being present or not being present of the abater is a very important as far as section 114 is considered, and all the CRPC provisions remain same as for the offense itself, like the cognizable or bailable or the punishment, everything remains same. If the person is present, then whatever is available as punishment for that particular offense will remain, and if the person is not present, in that case it will be seen as abatement. I hope that's very clear. With that I am moving on. Section 115, again a very easy section and very interesting also. It discusses about abatement of offense punishable with death or imprisonment for life if offense not committed. You have to see three parts here. The first part, there is an abatement of an offense, and what is the punishment for that offense if it is conducted? It will be punishable with death or imprisonment for life. And what is the third part? That offense is not been committed. In that case, what is the punishment? Now the moment when I say the offense which is punishable with death or imprisonment for life, what is coming into your mind? You need to have few examples, right? Like the murder, rape, etc., or whatever heinous crimes are there, for them the punishment is death or imprisonment for life. Now somebody is abating a person to do that particular offense. However, the person who got abated has not committed that particular crime. Now whether there is any punishment for the abater for such abatement or not is the question. That is what exactly answered in section 115, and the punishment here can go up to 7 years of imprisonment along with fine. Now that is the punishment, and in the course of such act, if there is any hurt caused, in that case the punishment can go up to 14 years along with fine. If there is abatement but nothing has happened and the punishment is up to death or imprisonment for life if such offense is been committed, in that case the punishment will go up to 7 years and fine. And if there is any hurt caused because of that particular abatement, in that case the punishment can go up to 14 years of imprisonment along with fine. I hope that is very clear. To understand more easily, let us take the help of the illustration. Now imagine there is one Mr. A who instigate Mr. B to murder Mr. Z. I think this line is by heart for you also by now, because all the illustrations are going this way only. Now A wants Mr. B to kill Mr. Z, so he instigate Mr. B. However, B is not committing any offense. In that case, the punishment for A can be up to 7 years of imprisonment along with fine. But on the other hand, if B got instigated by A and he tries to kill Mr. Z, and in the process he hurts Mr. Z, in that case the punishment for A can go up to 14 years of imprisonment along with fine. I hope that is very clear. So that is the impact of abating an act which is punishable with death or imprisonment for life. I hope that is very clear. With that I am moving to 116. Then comes section 116, and I am really sorry for repeating this statement. This is also a very easy and very interesting section which discusses about abatement of offense punishable with imprisonment if offense be not committed. Here what happens? The punishment is imprisonment only, and such abatement has happened but the offense is not committed. What happens in that case? The punishment here is 1/4 of that particular offense if that is been happened. Like for example, there is an offense for which the imprisonment is up to 10 years. Now when I say up to, we have to always calculate with the highest number of years. That is what exactly said in section 116. Now what is the highest number of years of punishment for that particular offense? Imagine it is 10 years. In that case, if someone has abetted another to do that particular act, but the act is not been committed, in that case what happens? The punishment for such abatement will be 2.5 years of imprisonment, and the same happens with fine also, or with same. Now for example, 10 years of imprisonment is the maximum, and if the fine is 10,000 rupees, what happens? The punishment will be 2.5 years of imprisonment or 2.5 thousand rupees as fine, or both. That is how we need to read this particular section. The section further continues with the presence of public servant. Now, if the abetter or the person who is getting abated, any one of this, in this case, if he is public servant who has to prevent his office or has the duty to prevent the commission of such offense. Now, he may be an abetter or maybe the person who is getting abated. If anyone is public servant, in that case, the punishment for abater will be the half of the punishment which is available for that particular offense. Now here also the offense is not been committed, but the abater or the abated person will be a public servant. Now in this case, the abater will get half of the punishment. Let's continue with the same example that we have taken above, where we have taken 10 years imprisonment and 10,000 rupees fine. What happens in the case of public servant being in the abater or abated? Here the punishment will go to 50%. That means the 5 years imprisonment or 5,000 rupees fine, or both. Now that's all about section 116. There are 4 simple illustrations here. I will pick the third one, where A is a police officer whose duty is to prevent robbery, abets the commission of robbery. Now he has the responsibility to prevent robbery. Instead of preventing, he himself abets the commission of robbery. Here, though the robbery be not committed, A is liable to 1/2 of the longest term of imprisonment provided for that offense, and also to fine. I hope that makes it very clear. And the fourth illustration continues with the same, with little bit of role change. Here what happens? B abets the commission of a robbery by a police officer. Here only the person who is abetting changed. There the police officer himself is abetting, whereas here the police officer is being abetted by someone else. Here for B, the punishment will be half of the longest term of imprisonment provided for that particular offense. So here what we need to remember is the punishment is discussed for the abetter. That is very important. And with that, I am concluding section 116. That's the end of this particular class, and I have one more session on chapter 5 of IPC, where I am going to cover section 117 to 120. With that, we are completing chapter 5. Till then, if you have subscribed my channel, thank you so much for the same. If not, this is your time to subscribe my channel. Please like, share and comment my videos. All the very best for whatsoever purpose you are referring my channel, and thanks again.